both of these folks, Obama and Clinton, have seen what the top of the ticket, for example, does to the bottom of the ticket.
Yes.
Because you were just talking about some of these members in Congress. They have right to be worried. Right now, it looked like the Democrats could possibly win the majority in the House. And now that's really deteriorating because with Joe Biden at the top of the ticket, they're very concerned that those down ballot elections may suffer because of that. And it's something to take into consideration. There's too much to lose in this election.
Another story to watch. And here's one we're watching. Well, now we're watching pretty much every minute when we have a moment spare from our own general election. Joe Biden, the American president, is meeting Democrat governors of the USA today. He's addressing those calls to replace him as the party's presidential nominee. So Laura Schwartz is a former advisor to former President Bill Clinton, and she's on the line live. Hello to you, Laura.
John, great to be with you. Lots of politics today.
There certainly is. You're very, very welcome. And I'm looking, Laura, at the New York Times, which reports that Joe Biden has been contemplating, behind closed doors, seriously considering, says the New York Times, whether he can recover after that dreadful performance in that TV debate last week. First of all, Laura, does that strike you? Does that ring true to you?
Well, to be honest, John, even though the White House has flat out denied it, and it does seem that it's only from one anonymous source and not corroborating sources, you got to be asking yourself that question. You've got to be having an internal talk to say, okay, you know what, one or two more of those performances, I'm done. What are we going to do? Yeah. Quite honestly, that conversation should have taken place last Thursday night on the plane from the debate in Atlanta to North Carolina, where he had his rally the next day. I feel like they're a little late in the game because we're just starting now to hear about this rollout plan. You just mentioned he's talking to Democratic governors tonight. It's something they should have been doing last week.
Do you reckon those governors, those Democratic governors from around the union, do you think they will be, I imagine it's going to be a pretty private meeting, do you think he's going to be having whispered in his ear by at least some of those governors, Joe, come on, time is up, we love you, but time is up, time to quit the stage?
Yeah, they're right now, all the governors, the majority of the party, including his vice president, Kamala Harris, and some really strong surrogates like Gavin Newsom, governor of California, and Governor Whitmer of Michigan, both rumored as replacement ticket folks. They have stood by him. They're even going out and campaigning multiple states this weekend for him.
Yes.
But, they need to project that until a decision is made.
Yes.
They have to project that as strongly as possible.
Yes. I mean, they're backing him until the moment they're not backing him. That's a kind of an eternal rule when it comes to regicide at the top of a big political.
Yeah, you got to have
party.
You got to have a pause. But, you got to take a second and realize it.
But the first little fissures are opening up. Lloyd Doggett, the Democrat in Congress, Jared Golden, they are saying they do not have confidence in Joe Biden to carry on. Many more, you'd imagine, are thinking what they are saying. And I just wonder this, Laura, as someone who may well know, it may be the big game changer is when someone like your old friend and boss, Bill Clinton, has a whisper in Joe Biden's ear. Do you imagine that could be happening anytime soon?
I think that's going to be what it takes, actually, John. I think it would take a conversation with Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, Nancy Pelosi, the former speaker, and of course, relish senator and great friend of Joe Biden's, as well as the leader of the Senate and the leader of the House, the Democrat leaders. And it would have to be them. Now, those are the big political, leaders, right? He's got a very strong family that makes up his core circle. That's his wife, Jill Biden. It's his sister, Valerie Owens, or Biden Owens, and just a very few other confidants. And what we're hearing is that they are not having that conversation with him. They are supporting him. They believe that they can move past this.
Yeah. They do believe that.
So he really relies on a small circle.
What was that? I'm sorry. Do you think they'll stay in that position? Or do you think quietly, maybe it would never happen publicly, but if you're Bill Clinton or Barack Obama and you take the view that Joe Biden's got to step aside, you may never want to air that. You may always want to air the public support, but privately make your view clear to the contrary. Yes. Do you think that may be what happens?
And John, that is something about that group. The presidents confide in each other, and I would only hope that they do. You want to get relevant consideration on issues and moments of past presidencies that can be influential in yours and help you think through the problems of the day. I think politically it goes hand in hand. When you're the president, you're really the head of the Democratic Party
Mm,
or the Republican Party in Trump's case. And both of these folks, Obama and Clinton, have seen what the top of the ticket, for example, does to the bottom of the ticket.
yes.
Because you were just talking about some of these members in Congress. They have right to be worried. Right now, it looked like the Democrats could possibly win the majority in the House.
Mm,
And now that's really deteriorating because with Joe Biden at the top of the ticket, they're very concerned
yeah.
that those down ballot elections may suffer because of that. And that's something to take into consideration. There's too much to lose in this election.
Right. I mean, if it comes to the point of actively looking around or the door opening up just an inch for another contender, you mentioned already Gretchen Whitmer, the Michigan governor. You mentioned Gavin Newsom in California governor. Those are names which you hear a lot. Of course, the vice president is Kamala, and she's saying, isn't she? Not on your life. You know, if it's not Joe, it's got to be me. That is a problem which would have to be negotiated too.
It would be, and everybody would have the ability to campaign. I personally and professionally believe Vice President Kamala Harris has to remain on the ticket. It also gives access to the fundraising that Biden Harris has done. So I think for formality, yes, but she really and Kate, I'm sorry, I know your listener, Kate, said she was tired with the polls. They're starting to poll now Kamala Harris, and even though she's 3 points behind Trump in the polls, Biden is 6 points. And we've got a new New York Times poll coming out pretty soon, of which the campaign is concerned about. So the Biden campaign just sent out an all-staff memo today telling their folks that, hey, it's not as bad as it seems. Our internal polling is better for battleground states. Don't get rattled by this, but it's hard not to.
Okay,
But Kamala, they're going to start polling her more and more.
Yeah.
She has been one of the biggest, most staunchest supporters of his through the weekend. But I think she's got her own base out there and could do well.
Right. Well, okay. There'll be different views on that, but there you go. Polls. They make the weather. It's lovely to talk to you, Laura. Let's do it again soon.
Thanks, John.